A group of old friends were wandering in the forest when a beat-up car suddenly rolled up. Out stepped a stunningly hot girl who called out to these guys as Dad. This made them think they were the daddy. Turns out she was the long-lost daughter of one of their buddies. Her irresistible charm at the age of 20 excited even the younger ones, let alone the old men who couldn't take their eyes off her. Will the thought of hitting on a buddy's daughter cross their minds? These guys were once an outstanding basketball team. With their skills, they led the team to victory. To celebrate these young stars, the club's manager threw a lakeside party for them. There, the revered coach proudly motivated the team, saying, "I want you to live your lives just like you played today." That was the last time they saw him. 30 years later, these boys have grown up and have their own lives. Team captain Lenny has a dream career in Hollywood. Eric became the owner of a real estate company. Cut became a stay-at-home dad, taking care of the family while his wife worked. Only Marcus is still enjoying the single life. Finally, there's Rob, who's happy with his muse, though she might be a bit dry. Rob is also a skilled masseur. One fine day, Lenny's little daughter drove out and told him that his coach had passed away. At the coach's funeral, the five of them finally reunited. The first person Lenny met was Cut. After that, the others showed up one by one. Seeing her, Lenny's wife asked, "Is this your grandmother?" But their expressions made her blush with embarrassment. At the coach's funeral, in the solemn atmosphere, Rob stood up to read a prayer. With his playful nature, he made his friends sitting below burst out laughing. Seeing Rob expressing his feelings for his plane, the guys felt a bit overwhelmed by his strong taste. His problem is falling in love too easily, so by now, Rob has gone through 3 failed marriages. Seeing Eric's 4-year-old son still breastfeeding, Cut felt uneasy about them. His daughter was also a stubborn child who didn't listen. Lenny wasn't much better off. His 2 sons were obsessed with video games, refusing to go outside and exercise like their fathers did back in the day. After the coach's funeral, the group and their families rented a resort in the suburbs to have fun and scatter the coach's ashes. Lenny's family could only stay for a day as they had an upcoming show in Italy. Seeing the bug zapper at the door made his daughter cry because she was afraid the bugs would be killed. Lenny stepped in to rescue the sleeping bug, only to be stepped on by his mother-in-law. Inside, they divided the rooms. Rob and his plane chose the room with the pool so they could swim together. The little girl wanted to join them, but her mom quickly stopped her, saying they swim differently. Then, the group sat by the lake to reminisce, sharing stories of their old mischiefs, and feeling disappointed that the kids now were too into video games. So the group went inside, dragged the kids out, took them for a walk in the forest, and recounted their past glories. Seeing a rope, the kids didn't understand what it was for, so Eric said, "Let me show you just once." With the rope in hand, Eric swung a few rounds. However, now overweight, he lost control, crashing straight down a cliff. Thanks to his thick fat layer, Eric was fine, but the young bird he landed on wasn't so lucky. So they entrusted the kids to take care of it. In the evening, while the group was having dinner and ordering, the little boy asked if he could drink her milk. At this point, Lenny encountered his old rival. Still bitter about losing to Lenny's team, he demanded a rematch. Lenny wasn't interested, as he just wanted to spend time with his family. The next day, the group took the coach's ashes to scatter. During the scattering, they held a minute of silence for him. Suddenly, Rob burst into tears thinking about his failed relationships, believing the coach would be very disappointed in him. Even his daughters, he had never met them. Lenny suggested he invite them here to make amends. Rob said he already did. Then, a beat-up car arrived. Out stepped a tall, stunning girl that left the old men with their jaws on the floor. She called these guys Dad, making them think they were the daddy. Turns out she was Rob's daughter. When she opened the car, the steam engine made her even more seductive, causing the old guys to stare unblinkingly. Even the young boys were mesmerized, let alone the old men. While the group of old friends was taking a stroll in the forest, a beat-up car suddenly rolled up. A stunningly hot girl stepped out and called these guys Dad. This made them think they were the daddy. Turns out she was the long-lost daughter of one of their buddies. Her irresistible charm at the age of 20 got even the young ones excited, not to mention the old men who couldn't take their eyes off her. To save face, the guys took turns sneaking glances. When Rob led the grandma out to rescue them, the steam from the car engine made her look even more seductive. The old guys had to turn their chairs away. During the reunion with the group, Rob felt a bit down because he hadn't been able to raise the girl for the past 20 years. When they met again, there wasn't much father-daughter bond. To cheer up their friend, the group decided to play a mischievous game of archery. The rule was that whoever stayed in place the longest when the arrow was shot up would win. But with the risk of the arrow landing on their heads, they all ran like crazy to save their lives. While running, Eric got bitten by ants on his leg, causing him to fall headfirst into the ground. Uncle Cut hit his face on a tree trunk. Marcus had the worst luck, falling face first into a pile of dung. Only Lenny bravely went back to save Marcus, but accidentally stepped on him, making his face hit the dung again. Rob was the last one standing, and his prize was the arrow landing right on his foot. After seeing these antics, I wondered how they managed to survive to adulthood. As they carried Rob back, the next daughter arrived. She was just as stunning as the first. Finally, the youngest daughter showed up, and they were a bit disappointed because she looked exactly like Rob, from her face to her fashion sense. On the last night of Lenny's family stay, while his wife was busy on the phone with a client, their daughter came in with a broken tooth to show off. She thought the tooth fairy would come, but when she heard her mom say she'd put money under her pillow, she was sad to realize the tooth fairy wasn't real. She then confided in Lenny that maybe she had taken away their daughter's childhood. Seeing his wife upset, Lenny went to comfort their daughter. When he opened the door to her room, he saw the kids playing with a string phone, surprising him as it was a game he used to play. He handed his wife a string so she could whisper to their daughter. Before getting ready to leave, the little girl gave the young bird one last drink of milk and asked Eric's wife if she could help feed it while she was away. The little boy was just worried the bird would drink all his milk. As Lenny's wife was loading the luggage into the car, she saw their son happily throwing stones. Seeing the kids finally having fun with their friends instead of being glued to their video games, she decided to cancel their flight tickets so the family could fully enjoy their time here. This made Lenny and the kids very happy. Later, everyone excitedly prepared to go to the water park. Watching the older daughters being taken to buy swimsuits by Uncle Marcus, Rob was annoyed because he knew his friend was up to no good. He disapproved of the swimsuits they chose, but really liked the one his youngest daughter picked. While waiting in line for the water slide, the little boy asked Eric if he could drink his mom's milk. Embarrassed in front of his friends, Eric decided not to breastfeed his son anymore and stole another kid's milk box to give to his own. The boy was initially shy, but after drinking the milk, he quickly forgot about his mom. As the group prepared for the water slide, Rob pulled his daughter aside and told her to stay away from Uncle Cut, but she thought he was gay. Gay? No way. That guy could make you pregnant, Rob said. When the four dads and sons were about to slide down, a staff member commented on how ugly the girl was, just like her dad. Rob was so angry he pushed the guy down the slide. Watching the older daughter slide down with her full figure made the kids excited, while the old guys didn't dare say a word. Seeing his friend having fun with his daughter, Rob was furious, but couldn't do anything. Seeing the cable car looking scary, Lenny and his son were about to chicken out when they ran into Dickie's group, the team Lenny's team had beaten years ago. They started teasing the father and son duo as cowards, and Dickie's kid even challenged their pride. Seeing this, Lenny's son began to show off. He swung backward and nailed it with flying colors. When it was Lenny's turn, he even spun around before pulling off a slam dunk that left Dickie with his mouth hanging open. This led Eric to mockingly ask if these guys could actually do anything useful. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and Dickie asked his friend to try jumping with his feet. "Is that safe, boss?" the friend asked. Dickie replied, "It's very safe, because you're a beast." "Then why don't you do it?" the friend asked. Dickie responded, "Because I have a small child." So this guy tried to swing down using his feet, but got stuck and ended up wrecking the storage shed. Seeing that his son had lost interest in milk, the mother began to panic, not knowing what to do. Lenny's wife said, "This is a typical man. They take everything we have and then trade us for a cow." "But what about my milk?" the mother asked. "Don't worry, dear, I'm here," Lenny reassured her. At this point, Lenny was teaching his son how to shoot hoops properly. He told him, "Forget about the practice machine and stop staring at those girls' butts. They're calling us perverts." The 4th of July had arrived, and they all came together to raise the flag. The little bird had recovered too. While the wives were preparing food, Uncle Marcus, who had been drunk the night before, finally woke up. He mentioned having a strange dream about a blonde girl. Looking at the dog next to him, he hoped it was just a dream. He shared this with his friends, saying the girl was much younger than Rob's wife. Last night, while their bed was shaking violently, a painting fell and hit her on the forehead. Seeing his daughter with a scar on her forehead, Rob went ballistic and chased after Marcus to settle the score. He beat the guy within an inch of his life and even kicked him in the groin, almost making him impotent. At this point, his daughter ran over and explained it was just a joke. The scar happened because she felt like a peeping Tom was watching her, causing her to fall awkwardly. Meanwhile, Lenny's wife demanded an explanation about why he had canceled their Milan trip before they even got here. Lenny confessed that he wanted his family to spend time together because it would be good for them. Cut also shared with his wife that he wanted to be treated with respect, not just as someone who complains every day after work. Eric revealed he had been bankrupt for a long time but was too embarrassed to tell his friends. Rob admitted he was wearing a kilt. "And I'm just a man," his wife said, adding that she had faced many difficulties and didn't have the chance to plan like everyone else. Then, the group hugged it out to soothe their sorrows. On the last day, they went to a resort by a lake. The group had an amazing time there. Suddenly, Dickie and his old team showed up to challenge them again. Lenny, who just wanted to relax with his family, used the excuse that Rob's injured leg was the reason they couldn't join. But Rob seemed eager to participate, thinking their late coach would have wanted them to give it their all. With no other choice, the 5 guys geared up for the showdown. Rob's leg was already in pain, and his old buddy made it worse. The wives also dressed up to cheer on their husbands. Despite being out of practice for decades, Lenny's team still had some serious game. They quickly closed the gap and pulled ahead of Dickie. They even showcased their old skills, and Lenny's shooting never disappointed. After a while, the 2 heaviest guys on the court started huffing and puffing. They teamed up to fake injuries. With no other option, the 2 dads started putting their sons in the game. Lenny started the match with a 3-pointer. When it was Dickie's turn, his foot touched the line, but Lenny let it slide. When it was Lenny and his son's turn again, they got the ball. Seeing his wife's sad eyes and hopefulness, Lenny decided to miss a shot to give Dickie a chance. The game ended with Dickie's team winning. That night, the whole family enjoyed the fireworks. When his wife asked why he deliberately missed that shot, Lenny explained that he wanted Dickie's family to experience victory, and for his own family to understand what it felt like to lose. Marcus then started firing arrows aimlessly into the sky, causing chaos in the camp. Meanwhile, no one was there to help the unfortunate Uncle Bobot. In the end, his leg got hit by an arrow, and he fell. And that's where the movie ends.